On April 7, 2026, the world was blindsided by a sudden diplomatic breakthrough. While major news networks were still dissecting the impossible stalemate of US-Iran ceasefire negotiations, a decentralized prediction platform had already signaled the turn. Hours before the official announcement, a handful of anonymous wallets placed heavy bets on a yes outcome, which was then trading at a negligible 15% probability. When the peace agreement was announced, these traders walked away with over $800,000 in profit. This was not a stroke of luck, but the result of a revolutionary incentive structure. Unlike traditional analysts, who face no financial penalty for being wrong, participants on these platforms must back their opinions with capital. This skin in the game creates a brutal filter that separates empty speculation from high-conviction data, forcing the market to aggregate the world's collective knowledge with startling efficiency. At the heart of this disruption is Polymarket. No longer a mere crypto experiment, it has evolved into a strategic infrastructure for truth discovery. By turning uncertainty into a tradable asset, it is challenging the monopoly of traditional experts and media. But how does this mechanism actually work to dismantle the post-truth era, and why is it proving to be more accurate than the world's most elite intelligence networks? To founder Shane Copland, Polymarket is not a digital casino, but a decentralized solution to the total collapse of public accountability. Born during the 2020 pandemic, an era where experts faced zero penalty for being wrong, the platform was built on one brutal rule: skin in the game. By forcing participants to back their convictions with capital, Polymarket creates a financial filter that rewards accuracy and punishes falsehoods. It is a decentralized alternative to traditional discourse, designed to produce a sharper reality signal than any newsroom or pundit. In this ecosystem, if you want to be heard, you have to pay for the right to be wrong. The platform's real-world test came during the 2020. While traditional media outlets like CNN and legacy pollsters were projecting a comfortable blue wave or a definitive surge for Joe Biden, a significant divergence appeared on the blockchain. While polls focused on who voters preferred, Polymarket tracked who participants believed would actually win. In several key instances, the market's implied probabilities shifted toward a different reality hours or even days before the experts caught up. Supporters of the platform argue this proved that a decentralized network of anonymous participants, risking their own capital, could aggregate data more efficiently than centralized institutions. This is the shift Polymarket aims to deliver. Traditional media is often reactive, reporting on yesterday's events. Polymarket is designed to be proactive, pricing the probability of tomorrow. Unlike the stock market, where traders bet on corporate earnings or consumer trends, Polymarket users trade on the logical nodes of human history. They aren't betting on a company's balance sheet, they are betting on the resolution of specific, real-world events. Will a ceasefire be signed? Will a regime collapse? Will a scientific breakthrough be announced by the end of the year? In the world of Polymarket, these complex geopolitical and social questions are stripped down to a binary reality: yes or no. Proponents claim this creates the first honest witness in an era of misinformation where the ledger treats the PhD and the anonymous trader identically. But beneath this vision of a truth machine lies a complex technical architecture and a set of economic incentives that are as controversial as they are innovative. How does a decentralized platform actually turn a chaotic war zone or a diplomatic secret into a mathematical percentage? And what happens when the truth becomes something that can be bought? To understand why Polymarket is being hailed as the oracle of the 21st century, one must look beneath the interface at the cold, mathematical architecture that powers it. This is not a centralized website where a company sets the odds like a Las Vegas bookie. Instead, it is a decentralized protocol built on the Polygon network, a secondary layer of the Ethereum blockchain that allows for thousands of transactions at near zero cost. The system functions on a deceptively simple mechanism: the binary option. Every market on the platform is a question that must eventually be answered with a yes or a no. When a user trades on an outcome, they are buying shares. These shares are priced strictly between $0 and $1. If a contract for will the Federal Reserve cut interest rates in June is trading at 65 cents, the market is telling you there is a 65% probability that the event will happen. If you buy yes, and it happens, your share becomes worth $1. If it doesn't, it goes to zero. This price is not determined by an algorithm. It is determined by the collective bids and asks of thousands of traders who are putting their own capital on the line. In this ecosystem, everything is predictable. From Hollywood rumors to regime change, the platform has transcended the halls of government to price every corner of human existence. But the most critical question in any decentralized system is, who decides the truth? If there is no CEO of reality to call the shots, how does the platform know if a ceasefire was real? For this, Polymarket uses the UMA Optimistic Oracle. UMA doesn't rely on a single data feed. Instead, it uses a game theory-based resolution system. When a market closes, a proposed outcome is submitted. If no one disputes it within a 2-hour window, it becomes the truth. If there is a dispute, it goes to a vote by UMA token holders who are financially rewarded for honesty and punished for lying. By 2026, for some, this logic has become a survival mechanism. As Shane Copland noted, we have users in the Middle East who tell us they check Polymarket every day to decide whether to sleep near a bomb shelter. The value proposition of an accurate, unfiltered truth is undeniable. This is the evolution of the truth machine. It has turned abstract risks into a concrete number. However, when the price of a yes share can be influenced by anyone with a crypto wallet, the line between predicting the future and influencing it begins to blur. If you can make millions by knowing a secret before the rest of the world, does that make Polymarket a miracle of transparency or the ultimate laundering terminal for global intelligence? As Polymarket's volume surged, projected to reach $15 billion in 2026, the platform's nature underwent a profound transformation. It shifted from being a curiosity for data nerds into a high-velocity engine for intelligence monetization. In this ecosystem, information is no longer just power. It is a liquid asset that can be instantly cashed out. The most famous example of this cognitive arbitrage is the story of Freddy 9999, a French trader who became known as the Whale. During the 2024 US election, he invested over $30 million into a Donald Trump victory. This wasn't a blind gamble. He had commissioned his own private neighborhood polls, asking people who they thought their neighbors were voting for, a method that often captures shy voters. His data-driven conviction turned into an $85 million payout. This was a triumph of private research over public sentiment. However, the line between superior research and illicit intelligence is razor-thin. Consider the January 2026 rumors surrounding Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Just hours before reports of a major operation surfaced, a newly created anonymous wallet wagered $30,000 on Maduro's departure, netting a 1,000% return in a single afternoon. A similar pattern emerged during the April 2026 US-Iran ceasefire negotiations, where anonymous, insider, wallets surged into the market just before the diplomatic breakthrough. However, according to the Wall Street Journal's report, as early as March 24th, White House had already issued an internal email warning staff not to place bets on prediction markets. Apparently, the email didn't work. To critics, these events are evidence of the platform becoming a laundering terminal for classified leaks. But Shane Copland, the platform's founder, has famously defended this reality, stating, "Insiders having a market advantage is actually a good thing because it moves the price closer to the truth." In the eyes of the platform, the source of the truth, whether it's a brilliant data scientist or a whistleblower in a government office, is irrelevant. All that matters is that the probability reflected on the screen is accurate. This accuracy at any cost is exactly why institutional giants like the Intercontinental Exchange have moved in. For corporations, Polymarket has become a vital risk management tool. Imagine a global shipping conglomerate. By betting yes on a market for potential Suez Canal blockage, the company is essentially buying insurance. If the canal remains open, the company loses the bet but continues its profitable operations. If the canal is blocked, the payout from Polymarket covers the massive costs of shipping delays and rerouting. It is a way to hedge against black swan events that traditional insurance companies are often too slow to price. Yet this growth is occurring under a thick regulatory fog. Polymarket has adopted a complex, hybrid model to survive. On one hand, it has sought a legal foothold in the United States by acquiring QCX and seeking CFTC approval. This regulated U.S. market is strictly governed by Know Your Customer rules and real name registration, designed to deter insider trading and satisfy federal law. On the other hand, the global on-chain version of the platform remains decentralized and anonymous. While the platform officially blocks U.S. users, the reality is that the barrier to entry remains incredibly low. For a high-ranking official or a military contractor looking to monetize a secret, cashing out on the global side is often just a matter of using a VPN to mask their location and a self-custody crypto wallet to hide their identity. This creates a dangerous paradox. While the U.S. side attempts to sanitize the market, the global side remains a wild west where the secret plans of nations are traded like commodities. It raises a chilling prospect for the future. If the incentive to be right is millions of dollars, what happens when someone decides to stop predicting an event and starts causing it to ensure their trade pays off? As of April 2026, Polymarket has moved beyond being a mere financial tool. It has entered the realm of national security and ethical crises. While the platform's founder argues that the involvement of insiders leads to a more accurate truth, critics warn that we are entering an era where the incentive to be right can inadvertently encourage the worst of human impulses. The most immediate danger is incentive corruption. In a traditional geopolitical setting, a government official or a military commander is expected to act in the national interest. But what happens when that same official has a personal crypto wallet tied to the outcome of their own decisions? If a decision maker can profit by millions by choosing when a conflict escalates or how a negotiation is timed, are they still working for their country, or are they working for their portfolio? This incentive misalignment threatens to turn statecraft into a private profit-making venture, where the movements of armies become just another data point for a winning trade. Then there is the threat of cognitive warfare. Foreign intelligence agencies have realized that they don't need to win a battle on the ground if they can win it on the dashboard of a prediction market. By injecting tens of millions of dollars into specific contracts, a hostile actor can artificially pump the probability of a regime collapse or a currency default. The market didn't predict the crisis, it engineered it. This weaponized probability is the new front line of psychological operations, where the ledger is used to manufacture a reality that didn't exist before the money arrived. Perhaps the most visceral example of this ethical cliff occurred just days ago, in early April 2026. After a U.S. pilot was shot down and went missing in Iran, a market surfaced on Polymarket asking, "Will the pilot be recovered alive by Saturday?" The volume exploded, but the sentiment turned dark. Thousands of dollars began pouring into the no outcome, effectively allowing speculators to profit from the failure of a rescue mission. The spectacle of people wagering on the death of a downed service member in real time sparked a global outcry. On April 2nd, the platform's leadership was forced to take the rare step of manually intervening and shutting down the market. It was a moment that exposed the inherent coldness of the truth machine, proving that while the ledger may be accurate, it is entirely devoid of human empathy. The legislative response has been swift. In the U.S. Congress, the Prediction Markets Security and Integrity Act of 2026 is currently being debated. This bill aims to close the insider trading loophole by requiring public officials and military personnel to disclose any bets. It also seeks to ban markets that involve non-humanitarian deaths or highly sensitive military operations. The debate has shifted. The fundamental problem is no longer whether Polymarket is accurate, but whether we can sustain a society where tragedy and state secrets are treated as profitable commodities. The rise of Polymarket marks a definitive point of no return in the history of information. We are moving from the age of opinions to the age of information arbitrage. The question is no longer whether prediction markets are a fad, but how deeply they will rewrite the rules of society, politics, and warfare. The adoption of these platforms is no longer restricted to the fringes of the internet. High-profile figures like Donald Trump Jr. have championed Polymarket as a truth radar capable of penetrating mainstream media bias. At the same time, the industry is entering a phase of intense competition. With Kalshur operating in the regulated U.S. space and new players like Truth Predict emerging, prediction markets are becoming a new form of social media, not for sharing thoughts, but for trading on reality. This transition signals a fundamental shift in how humanity reaches consensus. For decades, society relied on experts and institutions to tell us what was true. Today, we are increasingly looking to the ledger. We no longer ask, what is the consensus, but rather, what is the price? Polymarket may not be a moral platform in the traditional sense. It is cold, it is mercenary, and it treats the world's greatest tragedies with the same mathematical indifference as a celebrity breakup. But in an era where trust in almost every major institution has collapsed, is arguably the most honest tool we have left. It doesn't care about narratives, political correctness, or corporate agendas. It only cares about the result. The ledger does not lie, because the cost of lying is bankruptcy. As we move deeper, the world is becoming more volatile, not less. In this environment, the demand for truth will only increase. Whether we like it or not, we are entering an era where every belief, every secret, and every potential future has a price tag attached to it. Welcome to the era of financialized reality. It is a world where the truth is finally for sale and has never been more expensive to be wrong.